Hello everyone and welcome back to the Freelance Network, and today we review The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Shall we dance? I watched this movie a while back when it first came out, and I don't know why I'm reviewing it now. Maybe it's because I could talk for a while about this movie. Anyways, before we go any further, let me just say something. Warning, the following footage after this point contains major spoilers. I'm assuming most of you have seen this movie, and if not, then you have been warned. The reason why I do have spoilers in this review is because it's playing a big factor in the end result of recommending it and rating it, and I didn't feel like making a spoiler video. Again, spoilers. You have been warned.
Go Sparkle!
Alright? You're Spiderman.
Okay. Yeah, costume gives it away, huh? But something pretty important, Max.
How do you know my name?
It's written on your badge. See you out there!
For everyone of it. The plot. Taking place pretty much after the first movie, it kicks off with Peter graduating high school with his friend Gwen. Hold on. Pause right there. And my first problem shows up 10 minutes into the movie. What? Did you not see the last movie? He said, don't. You know what? Forget it. I can't. Peter's first scumbag move. Anyways, throughout the time between the first and second movie, he creates a pretty big fan base, and a certain amount of the majority of the population likes him. The other people are obsessed with him. And in enters Maxwell. Maxwell is an engineer or repair guy, if you will, at Oscorp. He has some, issues, mainly the one being he's obsessed with Spider-Man, and after a series of events he becomes electrocuted due to a freak accident. Well, for some odd reason, the guy who he pretty much treats like a god is now his worst enemy. And then, Harry Osborn shows up to take over his father's company after Norman dies. This leads to Green Goblin and so on. So, the main gist of the plot is that Spider-Man fights Electro because Electro is mad at him for not remembering his name, and then Harry is dying so he becomes Green Goblin. What? The characters. Okay, so normally in a movie, certain characters don't get lots of development because number one, the average movie is an hour and a half, and number two, the screen time is pretty much all focused on the main characters, which is like 3 in this movie. Let's start with Peter, shall we? Surprisingly, Peter in this movie doesn't develop much in comparison to the previous film. He starts the movie off cocky like his normal self in the comics and really doesn't change much throughout. Towards the end though, you can see him get kind of serious, well, since Harry figures out that he's Spider-Man. Which is my other problem. If you remember the scene, Harry is basically seeing Gwen and then Spider-Man. He's like, Peter? But he does go into depression and stops being Spider-Man for numbers of months, I believe, because, spoiler, Gwen's death, which I will talk about later. Gwen. I think Gwen was probably the best character of the whole movie because of her development. She's real with Peter and tries to push him away and get on with her fancy smart girl life. She's ready to move on, but she gets pulled into another mishap and ends up helping Spider-Man defeat Electro. Now this happens with only about 20 minutes left of the film. So, what do you know? The Green Goblin shows up and puts 2 and 2 together. Well, then, 7 minutes later, Gwen dies. What? Her whole death felt really rushed in this movie, and it felt like Goblin was just thrown in there solely for the purpose of her death, which leads to the next character, Harry. Everything Harry does in the movie makes no sense. When he gets usurped, he thinks, hey, let me go hire a psychotic maniac to get my company back instead of hiring, I don't know, maybe a lawyer? Harry is also dying, and so apparently he goes insane and injects himself with Oscorp serum. Where have we seen this before? And it only speeds up the process. Seriously, it wasn't like you were going to die the next day, but we're supposed to go with it. So, he puts on the Goblin suit, which would supposedly protect him, and he goes after Spider-Man. Why? Well, because good old Spidey didn't want to give his blood away. See, this is where you can see Harry is a spoiled brat, and he kills Gwen and disappears. As for the special effects, it was amazing. I really was amazed with the effects. The soundtrack contained nothing really memorable, and it was mostly comprised of dubstep. But in my opinion, the special effects was really the only thing that the movie had going for itself. As for the watch return, here's where it gets a little tricky. See, as bad as I bashed this movie, I would probably see it again because of the amazing effects. But also, you kind of have to shut your brain off if you want to watch it again, because then you just might get mad. So this movie has an average watch return. So, with all these details and points I have taken into consideration, I can award this film a 5.75 out of 10. The Amazing Spider-Man 2 wasn't great, and I don't recommend to buy it when it does come out on DVD and Blu-ray. If you haven't seen this movie, no one is going to get mad at you, so you're really not missing out on much. I would recommend to see it once in the theater or rent it. That's it for me today, everyone. Thank you for watching, and if you agreed or disagreed with me, let me know in the comments below, and I'd be happy to hear your thoughts. If you like movie and anime reviews, subscribe for more if you feel so inclined, and until next time, everyone.